don't know if you're interested in fall. I did this on IG yesterday, and I think it's a high time that we do this on here because 'tis the season. And so I'm going to teach you how to paint these 4 fall trees in our nice warm colors. So I'm going to switch around here and I'm going to show you guys my desk as we set this up, all the things. We're going to be using a couple brushes today, maybe just one. It always depends on how I'm feeling. So, all right. So right now I've got my Meeden products here that I'm using as well. And I've got this brush. It's about a number 10. Number 10, it's got a nice point to it. So we are going to be able to do most all the things with that. I think I might grab my number 2 as well, just in case. And we'll just see how the painting experience goes. But just wanted to give you guys a heads up on, what it looks like, our composition and all that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to put this to the side as people are joining. Hello, hello, and welcome. Right here, a bunch just showed up. This is what we're doing, guys. So sit tight. We're going to start with this tree. This is a wet on wet. And I'm just going to leave this here as an example for those that are joining. If you want to paint with me, great. If you don't, you can always paint later because this will be a replay. So I'm going to start with my number 10 round brush. And I'm just going to take some clean water. I'm actually going to tint it first so that you guys can see a little bit. So I'm just adding in some orange because it's pretty bright, pretty dark. And I'm going to just take this water on my brush and start to scrub. Can you see that? Maybe it'll come up in the replay. And just starting to scrub around and adding in. What I'm just trying to do is make this nice wet surface in the shape of the tree foliage. And then we're going to use wet on wet technique and we're going to start adding in some color. So now I'm going to grab some of that more concentrated green, orange. We're just going to start dropping in some of that paint and you're going to see how beautifully it spreads. We're going to go a little bit closer here so that you can see my work a little bit better. So I've got some, let's see, kind of a reddish orange that I'm going to dip into now. And as you're touching down, you're going to see some of that paint spreading really nice. Just kind of nice to play around with wet on wet. I'm going to grab some red as well and just drop that color in. So if this is a fall tree, we are just doing our interpretation. I'm leaving some white space. I feel like that is really important. And then I like to take a pretty clean brush. I dab it on a paper towel and I start to spread out on the edges just a little bit more. And we're going to come back and add a bit more darker paint later. Of course, if you wanted to right now, what I would do is I just dip into really concentrated paint here. And then I just wet on wet add some more vibrant color, leaving the white space because that's going to show that maybe you can see some branches through. Maybe we can kind of add that and draw in some thin branches when everything is dry. So I'm grabbing some brown for our tree trunk here off to the side. I've got several palettes over here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start painting in our lovely tree trunk, and we're just being loose with this. We're not holding too tightly onto it. I think I want it to be a little bit thicker onto our brush. And then we're going to just come out and do some little, roots, this little root line here. And I just kind of scribble on the paper, just quickly move. And this needs to be a little bit thicker. So as you're looking at your painting and you're doing this, I love to talk about mental health since I'm a therapist. So I encourage you at this point to just think about, when you are painting, whether you're painting this with me today or not, what is something you like about what you're painting? I'm going to take just a clean, dampish brush and spread a little bit of this out to create something that you like about your painting. We've got some paper here that has some stains. That's okay. It is what it is. We're using what we have. So the next one I'm going to do is this kind of a pine tree situation. Now I know pine trees don't change colors. I'm very aware of that, but we're doing art. And so with art, we can do things however we want. So we're going to start with some thin lines here at the top, a nice pointy top here. And what I want to do is just start to do some diagonal lines starting to go down. And we're gonna start getting thicker, like longer and longer as we go out in this triangular shape. So now I'm gonna clean my brush, grab some yellow now. I've got a lemon yellow, really bright on here. Feels like it's not, I'm out of focus. Yes, I don't know why. That is so frustrating. I'm sorry, Robin. So just a little technical glitch here, guys. We should not be out of focus, but that is what is happening. I'm not sure how to change that on here. So this is the sadness that happens sometimes. Like my nails aren't even becoming in focus. I don't know. It's one of those things. Hopefully it'll change. So I am just going to start adding in some yellow and creating these diagonal lines here. So just, it's like this tree is on fire. The tree is on fire and everything is just starting to kind of bloom with color for the fall. Okay, so now I'm gonna grab some red and we're doing that same thing. So I'm just adding a little bit more down here. These diagonal brush strokes are just loose. You're seeing things well, Mama. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's out of focus when I look at it in the camera. And then at the same time, when I see my replays, they're usually fine. So I don't know. Maybe it's adjusting. I don't know. Is my lens dirty? Isn't this so fun? Like being able to, you know, kind of real life just start to problem solve. Guys, I'm literally doing this right now. And I don't know if that makes any difference, but cleaning my lens because I want to paint with you guys. And sometimes technical weird things happen. We're just going to keep going though. We're going to keep going. So I'm glad you guys are here. If you do have any questions, let me know. I try to look. Hello from Charleston. Just watching for now. Will enjoy playback. Thank you. Hi, Robin. Wonderful. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we're just going to put this color down and we're just having fun with it. So with these paintings, we are trying to be carefree. And here's the big thing that I want to talk about. Being in the moment, just being. How often do you guys spend time just being? And that's my question because it's more of like a thought-provoking question than one that really needs an answer because so often we are rushing, we are busy, and right now I'm just filling it out. Hi Dee, nice to see you from Virginia. Now we're starting to go kind of horizontal lines here and now a downward facing diagonal. So, and I'm going to fill it in with a little bit of extra color. And at this point, you're just kind of fluffing things out, trying to make things thicker and fuller. And so we spend so much time being busy, so busy. And even when we're trying to be present for conversations with our family, with friends, we're often thinking about what's the next thing I have to do. So I encourage you to work on being present in the moment, you know, and figuring out, you know, what is it that you're doing and just being there. So when I'm painting, I'm usually trying to just paint and not think about something else. Of course, often I'm focused and concentrated and it's hard to think about other things as well. Not enough, but I'm practicing being in the moment. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, thank you, Robin. You know, yesterday I was hanging out with my kids and I was thinking about the millions of things that I have to do. And then I literally told myself, just be. And it really helped. It really helped. I have to tell myself to stop, you know, and it's like you kind of suck the joy out of that moment if you're not actually enjoying that moment, if that makes sense. So it's something to think about. And, you know, when we paint, I'm always encouraging you guys to just take deep breaths, remind yourself this is supposed to be fun. So one exercise you can do, as I'm doing all these little brush strokes here and filling in this tree, is to practice being present in your paintings, okay? And reminding yourself. Being present makes me feel relaxed. You fall asleep. Very nice. I mean, hopefully, you know, hopefully it's in situations where it's okay to fall asleep. Thank you for sharing that. Let me go ahead and add in just a bit of a trunk here, kind of a thicker little trunk. And then, you know what? We're gonna do some little roots too. Little roots just hanging out, stemming off. So there will be a replay. If this is too fast for you, you can always go back. and try to work on this at another time. But here's the other thing. So often, and I'm going to take a clean damp brush now and just start to kind of spread this out. So often when we're painting, we're looking for the final product and we're looking for perfection and we're hoping, hoping that we'll get there and that things will turn out exactly how we wanted and it's going to be fabulous and perfect. But guess what? Perfect does not exist. I'm just going to tell you right now, and it sucks the joy out of the moment of creating. So when I'm creating, I'm trying to just think about enjoying that whole process versus being stressed and worried about how is it going to turn out. So I'm just darkening up one side, adding a little texture just to create some contrast here. And this guy, he's got quite a thick trunk. But you know what? They're doing all right. We're going to hit this up with a little bit more color now. I'm just going to put this over here. Oh yeah, he looks about the same. All right, so I'm gonna move my color so you can see my meet-in products that I'm using here. And I'm gonna take more concentrated paint. So I'm literally just grabbing paint from the paint well with a little bit of water mixed in. And I'm just dabbing in little spaces just to add in some texture and some contrast. Some of this is pretty dry, and so I can do that at this point. And then I clean off my brush, dab it on my paper towel, and I like to just spread out some of that color so the edges are just softer. And then I can take some, I've got a reddish orange that I love, and just dab some of that in too. So, you know, when you're watercolor, if you're working wet on wet like we did with this first tree, it's going to be quite challenging to get some darker color because you have so much water on your paper. So once that first layer has dried, you can go back in with paint that's more concentrated, meaning there's less water mixed in. And it's just like a thing that you have to practice and learn your ratios, which I'm actually, my video for YouTube on Sunday is going to be water control. How much water to how much paint and what happens when you use different combinations. So look out for that. That information hopefully is helpful to you because water control is really challenging. I'll be honest with you. I'm going to darken up my tree a little bit more. So I just grabbed concentrated paint. And so these are paintings that are just supposed to be fun and carefree, not complicated, not too challenging, but just fun for fall. So the next one we're going to do is this one. And this one is going to be, it's going to have these little sections of foliage. So I'm just dabbing here, leaving white space, and I'm randomly doing this, okay? So remember, when you're doing this, if you're painting with me, or you paint later on your own, remember, the biggest thing I want you to remember is that I hope that you enjoy the process of creating, okay? So we're gonna do one here and here. So remember that piece. Hopefully making the brush strokes is a fun experience and you're not just trying to get your painting to look like mine or like someone else's that you've seen, but that you're making yours completely uniquely you and that you are having a good time in the process. That is my dream for you. I hope for you. I'm gonna grab some brown and we're gonna do our tree trunk. So this is just a fun, funky little tree. And I don't have as much space here, so he's just gonna be a little squatty tree, and that's fine. Just a little bit of roots here for the ground, and get that nice thick tree trunk in there. Okay, and then we have to start connecting all these branches, just like we did with this one here. This was from my IG live yesterday. And guess what? Next week, I think if I can do a live, I might do it Thursday, because going out of town Friday for the holidays, but I want to do like 3 or 4 different Christmas trees. So stay tuned for that. That might be happening. I'll make a live, what do you call it, a post or whatever it is, not a post, but schedule. I'll schedule an event if I can do that. I'm excited. Because Christmas time, you know, everyone needs to get on with their Christmas cards and you just have to start. I know some people think it's too early and it's early. I get it. I'll be honest. And I'm just connecting everything with the little branch. But if you're doing Christmas cards, you got to get a head start. I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to be part of that experience. So I'm just putting in these little random branches here. I've got my number 2 round so that I can get a bit of thinner marks although I'm not going too thin, and I'm just trying to connect things in the places that make sense. Maybe a little branch sticks out right there. Maybe one comes out right here and connects over there. Okay, so it's a silly little funky tree, but we're just having fun with it, okay? So what I'm gonna do now is grab a little bit more paint and add another one here at the top. And then I'm just gonna clean the brush, dab it on a paper towel. Yes, I do a lot of dabbing. And we're going to just spread out some of these clumps. And you can have, you know, different colors mixed into the same little clump, which is what's gonna happen. I just want you to be, you know, loose with it, have fun, and enjoy this process. And kick perfectionism to the curb, guys. That is the thing that makes our experience horrible. It really does. So it's something that we just have to focus on, trying not to need things to be perfect, and instead focusing on what's good. What do I like about my painting? Maybe it's the color, maybe it's the composition. Maybe it's the fact that I'm sitting down painting. Guys, I could just talk about mental health all day. If you don't know it, I am a therapist and as well as an artist. So I just have, you know, fun with that and try to mix them together. I'm just gonna take off a little paint for a little contrast, a little highlight. This trunk is really, really large. So of course I'm regretting that I made it so big. And at the same time, it is what it is, you know? I can't change it. So I can embrace it, just like life. All right, we have one more to do. This, a different type of pine tree. And we are going to take our, let's see, I'll take my smaller brush. We'll take the number 2 round. Let's do that. All right, so Mr. Pine tree, which is a little different than the other one. This one is just kind of, you know, diagonal lines. And this one is gonna have these squigglies. So we're gonna start at the top. Right here, we need that point. And then we're just going to start kind of squiggling down like this, downward strokes. And you want to start really small because you need that point at the top. All right, and then we're going to slowly get bigger, wider as we get down to the bottom. I always like to add a line, just a funky line is fine, just so that it helps me to stay accurate on both sides. So cleaning the brush, grabbing some red now. So wouldn't it be fun to make these into rainbow trees? I was thinking about that yesterday. I just love all the bright colors. So that would totally be me, just like adding in everything at one time. So I've got a lot of red here. Let's do some of that yellow. Let's do some yellow, although my yellow is starting to look a little orangey these days. I'm gonna do a lemon yellow because it's pretty bright. And of course, as it mixes with the red, so we're just doing, see these little like squiggly marks, down and out, diagonal. And then we can fill this in more. Things will blend and meld together, but this is just a different way to do the pine tree look. Obviously, very aware that pine trees don't change colors, but we can do whatever we want because it's art. So if your brush skips a few lines, even better. So fun. I really love painting trees. You can check out my YouTube channel if you want to see all the trees, videos that I've painted. And this was inspired, this video or this live was inspired by some green trees that I did a while back with these shapes. And I was like, you know what? Let's make them for fall. So I know with Christmas, you can't really make them for Christmas because unless you decorate them, you could actually. Because of course with the Christmas tree, it's like always the pine tree, right? But you know, again, like I said, it's art. It's your art. You can do whatever you want as long as you're respectful of others, right? Well, even then people do art that's not respectful of others. But anyway, that would be my motto. Just respect others in your art. Try to be kind. All right, so let's do a trunk. Making this one a little nice, and there's a little yellow on my brush too, so it's a little, I can see the yellow mixing in. So we're gonna go all the way up to that. All right, and then take that clean damp brush and just spread it out for some ground as well. And that's pretty much it. So we've got the 4 trees. And we can kind of zoom out just a tad and see that we've got two sets here. So the ones I did on IG yesterday and then the ones we did today. And this one's a little bit more round. I kind of like this shape better, but it's okay to just, analyze your work and say, okay, I like this, so I can change it for next time. I like that, I can change it for next time. And just be very much playful, in a playful attitude and playful mood. We'll do a little bit of splatter. So basically I'm just taking some paint here that has a lot of water. I personally like just to tap it with one finger, but some people will go like this with the other hand. And this is a great way to do snow if you're doing a winter scene as well. So these are the paintings. If you guys want to go back and see the replay, obviously you're more than welcome to do that. I'm just really happy that you guys were here today painting along with me or just watching. I'm going to wish you guys well, happy painting, happy mental health. And I hope that you guys do something fun and relaxing this weekend, whether it's painting or something else that you love. Take care, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.